Alright, so today I want to showcase the Yellow-Belly ball python morph, and I would say it's probably one of the least appreciated, probably one of the most undiscovered morphs out there as far as morphs and ball pythons. And if I gave you just a regular Yellow-Belly and just kind of handed it to you and say, hey, take a guess at what this ball python is, you'd probably look at it and say, this looks like a normal ball python. It really takes a trained eye to distinguish the difference between a Yellow-Belly and a normal. But let me tell you, once you start mixing it with certain genes, the Yellow-Belly really comes to life, and let me tell you, it will surprise you, the look and the color and the patterns of some of these Yellow-Belly ball python combos. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to Morph Market and let's pull up some Yellow-Belly combos. First I'll start with just a straight Yellow-Belly, then we'll look at the super, and then we'll look at some of the impressive combos, the Puma, the Super Stripe, the Highway, the Freeway, and a bunch of stuff like that. And let me tell you, the further we dig into it, the more I start thinking, man, I need to add Yellow-Belly to my collection. As a matter of fact, I almost got into the project, and then I filled up all my tubs with other projects, and it's like I either want to limit what I'm doing or expand. And one of these days, if I ever expand my operation, I'm definitely getting into the Yellow-Belly project. All right, so I'm starting over here at morphmarket.com. This is where they list tens of thousands of ball pythons. You can find just about anything you want on here. I think the last time I looked, there was like over 60,000 snakes that was actually listed on Morph Market. So if you can see here, I sorted by Yellow-Belly, and some of these Yellow-Bellies, I have to admit that these look like normals to me. This, you know, some people say you can flip over Yellow-Belly and look at the belly, and it looks a little bit yellow. Some people say that it has a little bit of flaming up the sides. You can see on this one, it has a little bit of white flaming coming up here. But I would say for the most part, for the for the novice person that's not really into Yellow-Belly, if you hand them a snake, they would probably mistake it for a normal. It's pretty incredible. So this is essentially where you start with the Yellow-Belly. If you breed two Yellow-Bellies together, you get 25% of the offspring come out as a super Yellow-Belly, which is a pure white snake. And the interesting thing about super Yellow-Belly, which is also called an ivory, but if you start adding genes on top of it, they get lost in the white snake. So a lot of people will say, this is an ivory, possible pastel, possible pinstripe, possible banana. And you don't really know what's in the ivory until you grow it up and you breed it out and you verify by breeding as far as what is actually in the ivory. So I'd say for the ivory, it's pretty much a dead end as far as getting impressive snakes with the super Yellow-Belly in the mix. But they make powerful breeders. So if you bred a super Yellow-Belly to something else, 100% of the babies are going to come out as Yellow-Bellies. This is an interesting combo. This is a Spark and a Yellow-Belly, also called a Puma. And you can see it's not really that popular. There's only 41 snakes here in Morph Market. Not a lot of people doing stuff with the Puma. I'd like to see more combos to see what the potential of the Puma is. So you can see essentially, you start looking at stuff like this snake up on the top left. This could be a Spark or a Yellow-Belly. And that's kind of the same thing with all the stuff that really blends really well with Yellow-Belly. There's such subtle morphs that you really can't tell the difference between one or the other. And sometimes you can't tell the difference between that and a normal, which is pretty incredible. And you see the Puma just has a little stripe right down the back of the ball python. And if you come over here to Spectre Yellow-Belly, it's kind of the same way, where it's kind of a subtle morph, but you mix it together and you actually get what's known as a Super Stripe. And the Super Stripe actually has a bold stripe. You can see it in this one. It's like the super of the stripes. Some of them don't have that strong of a stripe. This one has a really bold stripe, and that's why it gets the name Super Stripe. This is pretty impressive. And then if you come over to here, this is actually the Gravel Yellow-Belly. Gravel's kind of the same way. It's really subtle morph. But you mix it with the Yellow-Belly and you get what's known as a Highway. And the interesting thing about the Highway is it actually has, instead of a straight line down the back, it has little dashes, kind of like the yellow line going down the middle of a highway. That's the name Highway. It's kind of a neat name because it reflects really what the snake looks like. And similar to the Highway is also the Freeway, which instead of a gravel Yellow-Belly, it is the asphalt Yellow-Belly. And let me tell you, I think the asphalt Yellow-Belly is really where Yellow-Belly shines as far as combinations with the Yellow-Belly gene. And the interesting thing is they say asphalt was actually discovered in Canada, where gravel was discovered in the United States. So it's really two very close genes that are almost the same, but I think there is a difference, and I think the asphalt really gives the snake more color and patterns, especially patterns on the side. So if you take a look at these, the freeways here, you can see they have a lot more. It's like a broken up pattern, more electric on the sides, and this is really what got me into some of the freeway stuff early in the days. And what I did here is I pulled up a whole bunch of different combinations with asphalt and Yellow-Belly with other genes on top of the mix. And let me tell you, some of these are going to blow you away. So this one is a Pastel Calico Freeway. Take a look at that one. That is really impressive with the white and the yellow, and it looks really electric. That is pretty amazing. And then keep in mind, some of these are selling for an incredible amount of money. For example, this one is for sale for $5,000 with $100 shipping on top of that, and that's kind of another one of the reasons that it kind of keeps me out of it. It's a little kind of a high end, a little bit above my budget on some of this stuff. And take a look at this one. This one is a banana Enchi asphalt Yellow-Belly. This is a really intense snake. I've never seen anything quite like this. I'd really like to see what this looks like as an adult, because I think this is the first time anything like this has ever been produced. It's pretty amazing. And if you look at the price on this one, it was $10,000. And it looks like it just recently sold, just a little while ago. So it's pretty amazing that these snakes are selling for such a high price, still in high demand, still selling pretty well. It's pretty amazing. Here's one. This is the Cypress Enchi Freeway. So the Cypress Enchi Freeway is essentially a Cypress Mardi Gras. So the freeway with the Enchi, we call it a Mardi Gras. It's kind of the nickname, another nickname to another bunch of combos. So it's essentially asphalt, and the Enchi and the Yellow-Belly together is the Mardi Gras. But this is really an impressive snake. I've never seen anything quite like it. That one's for sale, $5,500 if you're interested in buying it from Aussie Boyd's. And I haven't really done a lot with Aussie Boyd, so I don't know him really well. This is a pretty cool snake. This is a Super Enchi Pastel Freeway. So it's close to the Mardi Gras, but it's got the Super Enchi in there. Pretty impressive. This one, let's see how much this one is. $2,500. Hey, that one's a pretty good price if you have $2,500. This one is crazy. The Dirt Road Freeway. Take a look at this one. That is one of the craziest snakes I've ever seen. I love the white right down the back. And it doesn't even look like a freeway because it doesn't really have dashes. And then this really weird line down the tail. That is really crazy. So that's actually, that's with the spider. So maybe the spider has an influence on breaking up the pattern, making it look what it looks like. And it has the cinnamon. So spider, cinnamon, asphalt, Yellow-Belly. For $2,900, it looks like it's still for sale. That's a pretty crazy snake. And take a look at this. This is Pastel Enchi Champagne Freeway. And the interesting thing is I've been doing a lot of stuff I've been doing a few videos on the champagne. We did the champagne we did the silver bullet and the gray matter and stuff like that, it was just kind of interesting, some champagne combos. This is pretty cool because usually what it does is it kind of muddies up the snake and it browns it out a little bit. And in this case, you can tell it really enhances the whole color and pattern, and champagne's really adding to it really well in this case. This one's actually $2,500. Looks like it's expired, so if they're on here too long, it looks like they actually expire, which is interesting. So take a look at this. This is a really crazy. This is a Hidden Gene Woma Freeway. So Hidden Gene Woma on top of the freeway. I haven't done a lot of stuff with Hidden Gene Woma, and I don't know a lot of people that are really working with that gene. Every now and then you see it. This one's selling for $2,000. Actually sold for $2,000. This one is another cool one. This is a Freeway Spider Enchi. So that is pretty cool. Selling for $2,000. And let's see what else we have here. So this is, I'd say this is probably one of my favorites, just the Pastel Freeway. And the interesting thing about adding Pastel on top of Freeway is that the results are kind of dependent on the line of pastel that you use. And I think it's really dependent on the line of asphalt and the line of Yellowbelly, all coming together to form this crazy looking snake. And this one, you can see it has a lot of yellow through the body. And I've seen a lot of them that have a lot more white and very little yellow. So this is kind of interesting. This one's selling for $2,000. This is a Spider Mardi Gras. This is similar to one we've seen, 1900. This one's a Spider Freeway, which is just the spider on top of a freeway, which is kind of interesting what the spider does to it. Kind of almost makes it look like there's champagne in there or something, which is kind of interesting. This one's still selling for $1,650. Pretty crazy. This one I actually never saw until I pulled it up today. This is the Ghi Freeway, which is kind of totally expected that Ghi would, you would think it would break up the lines on the back. Still looks like a freeway, but it kind of grayed out the whole snake and made it look like a metallic gray, kind of a gold color, which I think is kind of unexpected for the Ghi. And this is, well, this one's 100% head ghost. So usually if you have a 100% head ghost, it usually lightens just a little bit. You know, even though it's het, sometimes you can see a little influence from the head ghost kind of coming through. So that may be kind of what's going on there. This one sold for $1,600. Here's another Pastel Freeway. You can see it's totally different than the other Pastel Freeway. This has lines on the top. It's really crazy. More white in the sides. One of my personal favorites. This one's selling for $1,400. Now we're getting kind of in my price range. $1,400. That's not too bad. Here's another. Look at this Pastel Freeway. This is screaming. This is kind of what I'd like to get into is the line with a little more white into it and more electric. This is really crazy. This one's selling, hey, $1,000. Now we're talking. We're finally down to planet Earth. All right, this is the last one. This is the Pinstripe Freeway. It's amazing what Pinstripe does. It almost looks like a spark or like a puma or a super stripe or something like that. It's interesting that it brings the lines back together and no longer looks like a freeway. And you know, the Pinstripe has the strong line down the back of just the Pinstripe, so it's probably bringing that influence into this snake. This is a really cool looking snake. All right, so there you have it. Those are snakes like I have never seen before. Yellow-Belly is pretty incredible. And I'm actually thinking about maybe buying into, probably my favorite one would be something with the asphalt, the Yellow-Belly, maybe Pastel, maybe another gene on top of that, buy a female, and then just sit on it for a few years until it's ready to breed, and then jump into the project. Of course, I have to buy another rack or something like that. I have to figure out where to put it and where to move that project forward as far as fitting it into my operation here, but it was definitely something that I would be interested in. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.